Oh my gosh, I think we figured it out. We have been fighting in this KvK, and we're trying to figure out why we've got commanders like Huo, Joan, Ragnar, why they're not performing. Like, because they're just not. And I'll go through what I did on my second account because I was getting so frustrated by it, and I think we figured it out. Combo has completely changed this game, but it's not just combo. It's the way the fights are now. It's a lot of back and forth, and you need to do as much damage as possible before the active skills even go off. That's what makes your reports great. We're going to talk about all the commanders that do that, and we're going to talk about what has changed in this game, because it's mind-boggling to think you've got commanders like Huo and Ragnar and Joan, and these commanders that wait on their active skills to do damage, and they're starting to become obsolete. So stick around, because we'll go through all this theory, and we'll go through all the facts right now. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky, and I do videos all the time. And I love doing these guides. I love finding the nuances in the game, and I love being able to give you that information when I find it. So if you enjoyed this video, throw a thumbs up on it, give it a like, and if you have not subscribed, consider doing so. Hit that subscribe button, join the, 60,000 people who have subscribed? Holy cow, we're growing the community. And hit that bell if you want to get alerts when I put out content like this. This is something that we found. I am in 2359 with my second account. I love this account because more than anything, this account is much more of the mid-spinning account, right? It's much more identifiable with most players in ROK. Low spinners, mid spinners, even a little bit of high spinning. But I do this account and I don't have crazy stuff on it, so I really get to test things out, get to test commanders out, because with my main, it's hard to do that. I've got all the best stuff. And so we've been fighting in this KvK. All right, and we've been fighting a lot in Zone 5. We're pretty evenly matched with 27-28. We're in 23-59. You have a big war going on over here with 875 and 365, and 3303 has entered the chat now, and 1903. So I have been fighting this KvK, and I noticed something. I am on War Voice, all right, and everybody is saying the same thing. What the hell is wrong with Huo? Why can my Huo not perform like it's always performed? And I'm just sitting here and I was thinking the same thing. I got so frustrated after Zone 5, I was running Huo with Joan, and then I was running Arthur with Achilles. Well, my Arthur Achilles just wrecks. I mean, it crushes. My Huo Joan is trading like 60, 70%. Just awful. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's because of the commanders, and maybe it's because I need to go put Arthur behind Huo and make Arthur a skill damage commander, because that's what he is when you put him as a secondary. And I put him behind Huo, and I ran Achilles with Hector. I ran Achilles with Philip, just testing some things out. Now, Achilles did amazing, did awesome, but even my Huo Arthur wasn't performing. Like, what is going on here? Now, I am a breath away. I am close. Really close to tell people to do exactly what I did, but I will not. That's not what this video is about. What I did was I got so fed up that I took this armament set right here. And because I'm the one that's going to go guinea pig this thing and test it for you guys, this was my skill damage wedge set. And I just said, to hell with this. I'm moving it all over to Delta. I am running two combo marches for cavalry. I am not running skill damage anymore because this Huo is not working. I want to see what this does. Now, I have been running Arthur with Philip and Achilles with Hector. Now, this is a garrison account, so I've got Hector. And Hector's great as a combo commander. Honestly, he really is pretty good in the field. So I put him behind Achilles. Of course, Achilles is going to carry just about anything. He's busted. And so all of a sudden now, my reports and collectively what the two combo march thing looks like is so much better collectively than running one combo and dragging along a skill damage. And I just started thinking, and that's not what this video is about. I'm not here to tell you to go do that. I'm just trying to figure this out, and I think we figured it out. I finally have figured it out. And the point is, this game has changed so much. Like you can see, we are in zone 6 here, and we're balled up here, and look at all this back and forth fighting. It's just back and forth, back and forth. So the idea is that it is so hard to be able to engage in fighting, whether you're in a stalemate fight back and forth, or whether you're chasing and retreating and chasing and retreating. It is so hard to get enough time to where your rage bar fills up and you run your active skill. And the way the game used to be and was for years is that that's the way it was. You use guys like Juan, who wasn't going to do any damage until his active skill fired off. Nevsky the same way, no damage until their active skill fires off. Boudica, Joan, okay, Huo. Now the reason why we love Huo is because his active skill fires up much quicker because of his rage reduction that he does. You have 150 less rage to use the active skill. So Huo like hung in the game for a while now, but we figured it out. It's not about active skills. It's about doing as much damage the second you hit the marches. The absolute second you start hitting marches, you want to do as much damage as possible. Let me come over here and bring this up. This was at about, what, 3, let me move it over here. The second I start hitting marches here, you can see, watch. Boom, I start hitting marches. You got chin, you got combo, you got all this stuff firing off, and then I'm engaged long enough to do my active skills, and then they go start firing off, and that's what makes this thing work. But the bottom line is I'm doing damage every second I'm hitting. And the reason why I am is because I'm using 2 combo commanders. Now, it's not just the combo commanders. It is also any commanders that give us instant procs, okay? Because combo enhances the instant procs, the likelihood. Combo and Delta and the combo commanders do that. Now, the other thing to this that we've got to think about is when you look at Chin, the reason why we love Chin and the reason why he does so freaking good is because he starts AoE damage every second he starts hitting. Like red numbers just go everywhere the second he starts hitting. So he doesn't have to wait on his active skill. Okay, well that should have been a precursor because that's why Chin is so freaking powerful. Is that you don't have to wait on your active skill and back and forth fighting, you go back and forth, you immediately lay down damage, AoE damage, when Chin is there. So then you start thinking about this and you're like, okay, well, Arthur, we ran with Philip before we got other combo commanders, and that March did really, really well. Well, part of the reason why that March did well is because Philip's got one of the best instant procs in the game. It's 2400 damage factor to 3 targets. 800 to 3 targets, that's 2400 damage factor. Now there's a little bit of mitigation there because you're hitting additional targets, but it's only got a 3-second cooldown. And so from that standpoint, this 10% chance ramps up with your combo commander that he sits behind. And that fires off a lot. So that's why that March did good. Why has Luce and Alex always been a great March? Why? It's because of Luce's expertise, where he does an extra basic attack that's basically like a combo attack. And he does it every 25%. So 1 out of every 4 turns, he's gonna do that. And there's no cooldown on that. So that can fire up, a couple of times in a row. But it doesn't matter. The main thing this thing did was it procced the best instant proc in the game. And it's Alex's instant proc. 1700 damage factor on the target, instantly procced. That's why when you put the artifact on Alex and you put him behind Arthur, it's amazing. It's out of control good. So we figured it out. Like instant procs and immediate damage is the meta in Rise of Kingdoms. It is the meta. You want to put down as much damage as possible the second you hit the target. Chin does it. That's why he's so good. Luce and Alex did it for a long, that's why it's been so good for a long time. Arthur, that's why he's been so good. And really, you get to a situation to where if you're not going to be a commander that does instant proc stuff and really lays down the damage, then you better be a super powerful commander. Well, you've got BQ. BQ is super powerful. 2400 damage factor to 5 enemy targets, so you actually have to wait on his active to go off. But when people run Luce with BQ, that active fires off quicker. Why? Because of Luce's expertise. You get extra rage when this happens. And you put a horn on that, it fires off very, very fast. In addition, he's got the melee or the malice effect. So he lays down malice stacks, and when those stacks hit a certain number, he starts just doing instant proc smite, red numbers everywhere. And so that's what makes him good, to go along with his massive active skill, his stat sticks and everything else. But the malice is what makes BQ like really, really good. So either you're doing extra combo or extra basic attacks from Luce, or you're a combo commander that does combo, or you're an instant proc commander like Philip, like Alex, like William. Like, we dusted William off because he's got a great instant proc. So unless you're one of those, then you got to be a commander that lays down malice stacks and just does extra damage, because you can ramp these malice stacks off and start doing damage. You want to do as much damage as possible the second you hit marches without having your active skill fire off. That is the meta. And that is the declaration. Like, we figured it out. You know why? Because this guy sucks now. Okay? He just not working. You know how he works? He works best when you put Homeboy behind him. And you know why? Because he's got an instant proc. And so when you use Ragnar, I have said it repeatedly so many times, in this day and age of back and forth fighting, I can't get Ragnar and CPO to do what it used to do a year ago. I can't get it to do that. And the reason why is because it just takes so long to actually go do damage. It takes a while to load this thing up. And then you got to stay hooked up on the target to do the additional damage, right? And so I started running Philip behind Ragnar and realized it started doing so much better. And I was like, that's the one you got to go with. CPO, you're out. Philip, you're in. And so Ragnar completely fallen off as far as comparable to the new commanders that are in the game. And then we look at this as well when it comes to, where is Zuge? Same thing with Zuge. Like, you can still run Zuge. Zuge is great if you're running a second Archer March, but part of the reason why is because he has so much rage. So unless you're building up rage so fast, and then he's also got the Marquee effect with some instant proc stuff, but you're building up rage so fast, you got to fire him off as fast as possible. And then you've also got, where's our boy? Herman. Herman goes with him. Herman's got additional damage stuff going on too. When you lay down poison stacks, you got a chance to do extra damage, okay? When you do 25 stacks of poison, you do the Fallen Eagles, Force of the Fallen Eagles. Okay, now that takes a little bit of time to ramp up, but that's why Chen is so much more powerful, even with YSG. Chen does damage every time you hit somebody. But then we come to Huo, okay? Huo, even to today, has been hanging on by a thread. Hanging on by a thread in today's meta, because he has an 850 rage requirement and he does fire off so fast, but he's got no instant procs. Joan has no instant procs. Okay? So when Joan has no instant procs, you have to wait for him to fire off. And then for Joan to really, really work, for her force skill to really fire off to where you're doing 2 active skills in one cycle, you got to stay hooked up on the target like nonstop. Like, depending on what kind of fighting, this still kind of works. But in this back and forth stuff that we get into nowadays, it is incredible to see how the marches that do instant proc, that do combo, okay, and do additional damage and lay down damage the second they hit, those are the marches that do the best. I told you I benched Huo. I converted my skill damage wedge to Delta. And then look, I mean, this is just routine. This is what it does for me. Let me just take you through a murder ball fight I had. Here's one, Ragnar CPO, not doing near as many kill points, okay? He's still traded good because I'm doing really good in the field, but not near as many kill points. Arthur with Philip, tons of kill points. Tons. Arthur Philip, instant proc from Philip, big damage on Arthur, and combo. You're laying down combo attacks. You're laying down combo instant procs. You're laying down combo instant procs from the talent tree. I'll get into that in a second. Chin, a lot more damage. Achilles and Hector, a lot more damage. Luce and Alex, a lot more damage. Tons more damage. BQ and Wallace, a lot more damage. Malice stacks. Wallace absolutely hammers the enabling or the buffing of the damage that BQ does. And BQ's just overpowered. So he gets by with it. I could not trade like this, especially with my 2 cav marches. I could not trade like this. I would get this kind of trade on my Arthur Achilles, and then I would come down to my Huo with Joan and I barely trading even. It just wasn't working. And I'm just, guys, listen, I was in War Voice, and dozens of us are saying the same thing. What the heck happened to Huo? Why is my Huo not performing? Why is my Ragnar not performing? We've heard about Ragnar for the last few months, but now we're hearing it about Huo. And that's the reason why. It is all about instant procs. It's about combo damage, and it's about laying down, like Chen, laying down as much damage as you can every single second, the second you hit a target. And the other thing with combo is that even on the talent tree, now some people just want the effects of the combo, so they don't even run this up to the 5th level, but I like the damage. I absolutely love the damage. Because you can hit this thing twice or 3 times in the same second, and the cooldown sucks, but at least it does damage for you. The same thing with Achilles. You're just laying down combo damage that can instantly proc and does instantly proc right off the rip, right when you start hitting the march. And that's the key to today's game. The game has gotten to a point now to where it's not long drawn out fights anymore. Now you're getting more of that with the tech, and that's helped a little bit, but overall, commanders are getting faster, commanders are doing damage quicker. The instant you hit people, you don't have to wait for long active skills, you're just doing damage nonstop. And that's the key. That is the game now. Get ready, because in the field, that is the game. And so that's what you want to do with this. And I'm just telling you, combo is going to continue to ramp up in value compared to active skills coming from skill damage. Okay, and that's one of those things that we got to get figured out. I bet you when they give us another archer commander, it's going to be something like Chen, or it's going to have a super, super low rage requirement than Zugei's got. It's going to have something like 850 on the rage requirement. It's going to have something to be able to compete with the damage that all these combo malice stacks from BQ, Luce instant proc, Luce amplifying the instant proc from Alex, from Philip, from William, from all these other marches. And one other thing I'm doing on this account, this is Orleans KvK, so I got auxiliary skills. My BQ, part of the reason why he performs so well is because this is like my favorite instant proc in the game. It's not the most damaging, it has a long cooldown, but it fires off like instantly every time you enter combat, and it's 1500 damage factor. Every time you enter combat, it fires off that second. And if you're back and forth fighting, you don't care about the 10-second cooldown because you'll engage for 3 or 4 seconds, run away. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Then you re-engage, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, boom, it fires off again. So this thing has a lot of uptime in back and forth fighting and running and chasing and then retreating. That's how this thing works. And that's why CJ's got value. That's why I like running CJ. And so this is not about talking about the best marches or a tier list of marches or one of the best commanders. This is a video that has figured it out. And I'm trying to explain it to everybody the best I can. Okay? The rage cycles are overrated now. Even if they're slow or they're quick rage cycles like Huo. You do not want commanders that have rage cycles to do damage. It's harder to do. If you do like Zugei, you better have a whole bunch of rage on there to get him to fire off. Okay, now archers naturally do more damage every second just with the white numbers, but this is barely holding on, mainly because Zugei is so powerful. But compared to Ragnar, Zugei is light years ahead because that's why the only way to get Ragnar to work really well today, especially in competitive KvKs, is to run him with Philip. And honestly, the best way to get Huo to work, you just grit your teeth and say, I'm gonna put Arthur behind him and I just hope it does well. And it can be fine. And maybe when the formation comes out for the next wedge or the skill damage formation they're teasing us with, maybe it becomes amazing. Maybe there's some rage stuff that goes with that makes him fire off every 5 seconds or something. Okay, and so from that standpoint, it's just hard to get value out of those commanders that don't do damage every second. You want commanders doing damage every single second. Okay, because I'll tell you one thing, it gets rid of cheeseburgering. And I have seen less cheeseburger in this KvK than anything. They had territory, 2728 had territory right over here, right next to my city. And these dudes would come out and cheeseburger nonstop. I was streaming it. But I had all these commanders and all these marches that do instant proc damage. And the second I hit the cheeseburger march, it just nukes it to where you can't get the value. It would try to, the cheeseburger march of Luce would stay hooked up for 4 seconds, 5 seconds to get his active skill firing off. Meanwhile, in those 5 seconds, he's just taking damage left and right from all these commanders that do this type of damage. Chin, love him, amazing. He's the one that really is the best at it because that's all he does is damage every second, red numbers every second. Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna just shelve that, okay? And we're gonna talk about it more. We're gonna talk about how you set up your marches because I'm becoming a firm believer that I think I figured out why Ragnar, Huo, Joan, skill damage commanders are getting run out of the field. And when I say skill damage commanders, I mean commanders that have to wait on a big active skill to get good damage. They're not doing damage every second the minute you hit. And that's what these other commanders that are coming out into the game, that's what these other commanders are doing. All of them. Hector, Philip, Gang. We didn't even talk about Gang. I mean, holy cow. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed this video. Throw a like on here. Just wanted to give those nuances to people and get your mind thinking. Think about this. Think about these marches and how it works because I'm pretty sure that this is what has happened in the game and why the field has completely changed. So if you enjoyed this video, again, throw a thumbs up on it, give it a like. If you have not subscribed, consider doing so. I love the community. Get down in the description where my Discord link is. You can join my Discord, 8,000 people in my Discord doing all kinds of fun stuff, having these conversations. And with that, I hope you guys have a great day, broskies.
I don't chase trends, I ride what hit.